Hi, this is Vince Laura at the College of Applied Health Sciences at the University of Illinois. Today I spend a few minutes with Adam Bleakney, coach of Illinois' wheelchair racing teams, about the recent success of his athletes at the Boston Marathon, Illinois' Paralympics hotbed, and his coaching inspirations. So Coach, I talked to Matt Bucci recently, who I'm sure you know, about what inspired his love for wheelchair basketball.
Right.
So I'm wondering what led you to racing?
Okay, sure, yeah. The real draw for me was how much I enjoyed training. So I had a spinal cord injury between my freshman and sophomore year of college.
Wow.
And was an athlete at the time, wrestled in college.
Here?
And, no, I was in the Twin Cities.
Okay.
At a D3 school. That was a big hole in my life,
Yeah.
Competing and training and having something to train for each day, and the draw of being outside for hours on end by myself on blacktops was very appealing and very therapeutic. So above all, that was the real draw for me to wheelchair marathoning. And so after I started, I trained and competed very, very isolated, North Iowa. Had a few contacts within the sport, but very, very green. And at some point, as I was looking at where to finish my undergraduate degree, at the time I'd transferred back and was getting my AA degree. And so I was looking around, I discovered the University of Illinois and the track program here, and visited in the spring of '97, and after that visit knew that this is where I wanted to be if I was accepted. So it took them a long time. I don't think I was accepted until early August, so I still had other plans. I was going to go to University of Iowa or Northern Iowa, I can't remember which, and but the 11th hour that I got my letter that I was accepted, so that was the opportunity for me to come to this campus and become part of the program and work under Marty Morse, who was the coach at the time, and connect with my peers. And that was the biggest value point for me, was to be around other college student athletes that were of the same mindset. Some who, like me, had been collegiate athletes prior to their injury, and so that was very much a normalizing experience for me, and it allowed me to better adapt to and understand my life in a wheelchair.
How much was DRES a draw for you? Had you had a similar? Had you seen similar programs?
No.
Okay.
No, I had done. I was very fortunate that I had been in Colorado at the time of my accident, and had done my rehab at Craig Hospital, which is world renowned. And so, in terms of both acute and then the day after injury, therapy and creating environment to understand opportunities exist in life as a wheelchair user. So I had some connection to the idea that there was high-level sport available for individuals that were wheelchair users. But as I said, I was not familiar at all with the program here at DRES until I began to investigate opportunities post community college.
You know, this is a good question going off of that. Illinois seems like such a hotbed for wheelchair athletics. You know, obviously the NIWBT was last month, super successful, and I got to meet both coaches there. And it's a Paralympic training site, which was a designation you helped secure. And I wonder, is it because of DRES? What is it? The location, like the centralized location of Illinois? What is it?
Part of it stems from the fact that this was the first college campus in the world that offered opportunities for individuals that had physical disability or wheelchair users to enroll and then participate in competitive sports, and that was 1948. And really, it was an experiment. It was and started on the campus of Galesburg, which was they thought was suitable because that campus was at one time a hospital, so it was already accessible to an extent that allowed for architectural access for these students. And from that grew into a home here on this campus, Champaign. And so from a standpoint of being a leader in the movement, that's a part of our blood. That's a pillar of this program. And then insofar as alongside that, being at the forefront of research, innovation, and performance, all with the idea of providing service to not only our student athletes, but also having a transformative global impact on individuals that have physical disability. So that sort of answers your question. So I think as I look at it from where I'm positioned on the timeline, because certainly I wasn't around in 1948 for the genesis of this program, but the certainly my most direct connection is via Marty Morris and Brett Hedrick, who were basketball and track coaches in the late 70s through the 80s and 90s, and an understanding of the how they evolved the program and in terms of high performance. Certainly Marty has established many best principles in terms of training the Paralympic athlete that still stand today. Much of what we do is attributable to the best practices that Marty established in his time here. And that idea of success, too, came hand in hand with those training principles. And Marty had athletes at the top of performance. Winners of Boston Marathon. Of course, Jean Driscoll is a well-known name in her run at Boston and the many Paralympic medals that he won. I believe his athletes won over 50 medals in Paralympic competition throughout his tenure as head coach. And so that type of success is a legacy, and it builds, allows a foothold from which future success can be built and developed. And certainly the success that our athletes have had today can be tied back into that tradition of success.
And speaking of success, your athletes have won some of the most prestigious races, London Marathon, New York,
Right.
and Boston now, Daniel Romanchik. So of those, and I know this is asking who's your favorite kid, but is there one that's most special to you when you think about
of the victories? Well,
yes.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that there's a lot of great highlights and not just those that make the front page of papers. I take as much value from the athlete whose goal is to finish their first 5K. Maybe it just started in a racing chair the previous year, 2 years ago. To see them reach those goals gives me as much sense of value as Daniel winning the Boston Marathon. Obviously, both are incredible experiences and accomplishments, and a testament to the diligence of the athletes. And so having qualified with that, because that really is at the core of what my philosophy is. In 2016, our women swept the podium in both the 1,500 meters and the 5,000 meters, and to see that happen. And as long as I've been involved in Paralympic sport, I've never seen a country sweep and win gold, silver, bronze in an event. And so to see them do that the first time, which was just an incredible, I thought, well, everything, potentially we could see this happen, but everything's got to turn the way we want it to turn, and it did. So they pulled off one sweep, and then I thought, well, they did one. I can't imagine it's going to happen again, because people will modify their strategy, but they were able to do it again, and really, what an incredible accomplishment. That was fun to watch, and I took a lot of pride in seeing them perform that way.
This leads great to my next question. Now, you medaled, so are there athletes now that you believe are in that position to medal again?
Yeah. I mean, we have such an incredibly talented group of athletes here, and we draw from all over the country, West Coast, East Coast, South, and we pull in athletes who I think are the best and the brightest. And most importantly, they're good people, just good, decent human beings. First and foremost. If there's a litmus test to being on my team, it's that you have to be a good person first, right? I don't care how talented you are. You just have to be a good human being. So yes, to answer your question, we've in the past in Rio, London, and Beijing, in which I've been involved, our athletes have generally won between 30% and 40% of all the medals won by Team USA track and field. So that's a team for track and speed. U.S. Paralympic track and field, that's typically a team of 70 to 80 athletes, and of those 70 to 80, we've had anywhere from 8 to I think 14 athletes was my biggest team. That was in Rio. But anyways, of those, and of those 8 to 14, typically I have half who are medalists, but a very small number of athletes win almost half of the medals, won by the whole team, and that's multi-disability, track and field. So, it just is a reflection of the talent level and how hard these athletes train and their day-to-day diligence.
You talked about them being good people. Speaking of good people, so you won the Alexis Werning Innovation Award.
Right.
What did that mean to you? Did you know her, and what did that mean to you?
I did know. We not overly well. We weren't, but certainly knew. She used the same facility up here that the athletes use, and know a few of her closer contacts very well. So. And have gotten a chance to get to know her parents more recently, and understand her accomplishments and some of the incredible things that she did. And so it was an incredible honor. It really was, one, to be recognized alongside her name, and two, in front of a very talented group of individuals who were also recognized. Two of the things that I really enjoy about this job, and there's a lot, but one of those is the opportunity to innovate and research and connect in with all these other points of expertise across campus, whether it's engineering or design or kinesiology. That's why I feel so fortunate to be positioned where I'm positioned in the College of Applied Health Sciences, and to have the support of the dean and the director and my supervisor, all of whom allow me the opportunity to connect and tie in these levels of expertise. So I think that's what makes our program very unique, in that it's very much a blend of athletic performance, but also academic pursuit and research, and pulling in all these different facets into what I think is a very high quality environment in which these athletes can perform and reach their potential.
My thanks to Coach Bleakney. This has been A Few Minutes With.